What up guys, Untitled Bruja here, and today I am back with a video on how to banish negative spirits or entities from your home or from an object, or literally that are trying to attach themselves to you. This video was inspired by somebody that I followed, and she ended up making a video about how a certain piece of furniture that she got was ended up being haunted by a certain spirit, and they did not want to let go of it. Turns out that she did not have the appropriate knowledge to perform certain banishing work or how to basically dispel any sort of spirits or spiritual attachment. The thought of it freaked her out, which I can understand, especially if you're operating out of fear. Then that just makes the situation a lot worse, because some spirits love to feed off of that energy, whereas others like to feed off of positive energy. So you have kind of like an ultimatum going on, because there's spirits that like being around positive energy and spirits that like to be around fearful energy, and they love getting a reaction out of you, so to speak. Build that energy up to utilize it to bring it into your world. Basically, you are literally a vessel that stores the energy that they need inside of it. So the more energy you produce that they can like feed off of, the more you're going to see a reaction follow that. With that said, I decided to take a good look around on YouTube to see like what kind of information is actually out there that is actually useful to her current situation. Comments were enabled on that video because I was ready to help this girl. So, because I know some things, I know a few things that would have helped her situation if she wanted to try and perform them herself or get someone else to help her perform them. You know, I was ready to just place some things down there. I wasn't trying to be negative or, you know, attack her and say you're dumb for not knowing this. That's not the point. I love this YouTuber a lot. She has a lot of useful herbal knowledge, and I appreciate that because that's useful knowledge, and I like using herbs a lot in my craft and in my kitchen magic. I wanted to help her. I wanted to place a few things in there to help her, to let her know, hey, try this if you haven't already, see if it works. But I couldn't, because it was enabled. So that left me to go on to a particular tangent of researching to see if there's any useful information upon her topic that could help her. She's a smart girl, so I assume that she probably already researched around to see if there was anything useful. But honestly, I wasn't surprised with what I found, because a lot of YouTubers that practice witchcraft, yeah, I did quotations, they tend to put out the most basic of basic knowledge for you to just, you know, dip your toe into. It's somewhat useful, but at the same time, it's nothing that's actually going to really help you if this sort of situation decides to rear its ugly head. So I didn't find nothing useful besides somebody who actually goes to homes to clear out this sort of energy. This is her job. She's a medium. So she's the only one that had anything useful that could pertain to this situation. But she did not have a lot of videos upon the topic. She only had one that I could find. Her way is not the only way. There are more ways than just that. But it was a good base for someone to try, because it's actually a very powerful approach. Depending on what kind of spirit and what kind of entity you're dealing with, it was a good approach. Without finding anything that was actually useful, here I am making this damn video. Luckily, the YouTuber that I subscribed to that was having this problem, she called her friend. Her friend was more knowledgeable in banishing magic and clearing out entities and spirits such as that, because that's something she dabbled into pretty hardcore. So good for her that her friend and her decided to do this ritual together to get rid of that energy that was disturbing her peace. Now I'm making this video so other people know how to get something out of their home, or away from them, or away from an object that they bought that they want to use and they can't use because there's a spirit that doesn't want to let go of it. I'm going to start with the most basic approaches that can clear out the most lightest negative energy that you can have in your area, and then we're going to go to some of the most extreme approaches to clear out negative, you know, spiritual entity attachments in your area, or from an object, or, you know, those things. Sage is one of the weakest things you can use. It's not as strong as some other methods that I'm going to share with you, Of course, if your energy feels like what you just did for your, typical cleaning or cleansing of your area or being or surroundings of the day is good enough for you, if you keep up with it, less negative energy and spiritual attachments should be present in your home or with any sort of object that you got, because typically you are supposed to cleanse these things before you let them in your home, or if you do already, then cleanse them while they're in your home. Just hurry up and do it and get it out of the way. Sage for me is like the base. Pretty much every day or every week you sort of just cleanse your stones or any sort of other objects. I'm just pointing at my shelf because there's a lot of things on there, just objects in general, to clear off some negative stagnant energy that's built up on them. But on that, then typically you should have less buildup towards the end of the week. It keeps your space feeling, higher vibrations, your mood feels better, everything's elevated in a positive way. Second of all, there's white salt. White salt is a purifier, cleanser, basic cleanser. So that's typically something that most people would go to first, is sage, white salt. Try and pair those things up, get a little bowl of white salt, put it out in the corners of your room to collect any sort of negative energy or, such and such, or sprinkle it in some areas. Put it in a vase and put some fake flowers in it. That's always a good method to do. Like these vases back here, I put black salt in them, because black salt to me is a more medium method, which I'm gonna get to later, and I'll explain that a little bit more. Let's get back to the basic bitch salt, is what I'm gonna call it. It helps, but like I said, it's something that is a lighter approach. You can keep this up most of the time, just in any room that you would like to have it in, and it'll just collect certain energies. And then after the week is up, or however long you've had it there, and you feel like that's just too much negative energy just sitting right there in that little bowl, toss the salt, replace it, yada yada yada. That's that's how you should do it. You should always replace your stuff, especially after it gets filled with nasty stuff. Nobody needs that. The more nasty stuff collected typically means that it's having a hard time absorbing much more negative energy than it already is. You do not want any gunk or buildup inside the salt or any other sort of metaphysical item that you're using. That typically means it's done. It can't absorb anymore. So all that negative energy is already going everywhere else. So white salt, a light method. I'm gonna say that if you pair these things with other stuff that can help it morph into a heavier method of dispelling negative energy, that'll help, because they're all kind of the same basis at the end of the day. But if you pair it with something else to make it stronger, even just your own energy, it helps to make that one item or herb, spice, whatever you're using, stronger, because it's already been blessed. Your energy changes a lot of things. Your mindset and your approach also changes a lot of things. When you're dealing with negative spirits, do not operate out of fear. They feed off of that. That's how they get stronger. That's how things tend to escalate and become more harmful to you sometimes. Not all the time, but if you are negative and fearful constantly that something's gonna happen to me, you're just gonna attract more negative energy, and it's gonna bog you down, and then bog your own energy down. So you're gonna be vibrating real low all the way down here. And like I said, they like to feed off of that sort of stuff. So typically the situation at hand can escalate, as I already said. Things will get more intense. They'll start doing things that'll freak you out more, because they're feeding off of that and you're allowing that. So try to operate forcefully to get this out of your home. It's just like people in real life. Some people, you can't be nice to them. You've tried over and over again to try and tell somebody, hey, I don't care to have a relationship with you or be friends with you, or partnership, whatever. I need you to get the hell away from me because you're bothering me and I don't want you in my energy field any longer. So get the fuck out. A lot of the time, if you're dealing with harsh negative energies that are really trying to infiltrate your field, your home, you will have to use that approach. You can't just be lighthearted about it and be like throwing little flower petals and salt everywhere thinking that's just gonna fucking work. That's not gonna fucking work. You need to be forceful about your situation. Exert your presence, typically. Exert your presence. Let them know this is not okay. You need to get the hell out of my home. Okay? It's just like Just think of it as like a burglar coming into your home in the material world. What are you gonna do? You're gonna let them take all your shit and beat the hell out of you? No. I would hope you would try and fight for yourself if you value your life and and everything that you worked for. Approach it like that, especially if the presence in your home is extremely negative and is really messing up your energetic field and your animals and everything around you. Next cleansing method I'm going to say is going to be Cedar. Cedar is a very potent method. I would say it's more medium to a harsh method, because I'm going to put it in a certain way that you guys can kind of put it into imagery sort of perspective here. Imagine a bunch of cedar trees just burning down, and you have to walk through that or run through it to try and get to the other side. A lot of us might not make it, especially if there's a lot of them burning at once. Imagine that smothering the spirit, because you need to breathe, and spirits want to exist, they want to live, they want to try and live through somebody, especially ones that are having a hard time moving on. They want to live through you. They want to be alive again. They're still lingering because either they did not fulfill something in real life, in the material world, before they moved on, or they're afraid to move on. Some of them are operating out of fear. So those ones will literally insert that fear aspect into you, into your vessel. You can pick that up and you'll start operating out of fear. It's hard to block if you are not very good at protecting your own energy. So that's something I would highly suggest, is learning how to place an energy field around you as well. Learn how to use your own energy to protect your own energy is what I'm getting at. There's not many videos about using your own energy field. There's plenty of videos of making a circle, casting a circle with items. You don't need items for that. You can literally produce your own energetic field. Imagine a bubble around you, some sort of light protecting you. That's going to be one of the best methods. You have to hold a certain mindset, a certain feeling when you do this. Don't let your surroundings interfere with your energy field. It's the same thing as just letting real life people interfere with your energy. Are you going to let that happen all the time? You shouldn't, because whatever they're going through is going to affect your mindset, your body, and your soul in a negative way. You can always place yourself in somebody's shoes at the end of the day, because an experience is always going to be relatable in some way, no matter the person. But it's up to you to let that affect you. At the end of the day, learn how to produce an energetic field. You don't have to cut someone out because they're going through some sort of rough patch in their life. A lot of people go through rough patches. I go through rough patches every damn day, but I mean, at the end of the day, we all really just want to be heard. We all want to be acknowledged and respected in our experiences. That's the least you can do. You can't fix everybody, it's not possible. But Cedar is something that will smother. It'll literally make it hard to breathe. It'll make it hard for these entities to find what they're setting out to do. It's like a mirage, some sort of mask. Using that connection with you, because it's smothering them, it's creating a field around you. Just imagine that happening, just in a large smog of smoke. Pretty much like a really thick fog rolling in, and they're blinded and they can't see through it. Cedar does that, and it blocks off that energy. So I see that as something really strong that already naturally occurs in nature that you can use, you know. I mean, sage, you can pair it with sage and just create a bundle like that. A lot of people do that. I like cedar a lot. It'll be one of the top ones, I'd say, for if I had to go to somebody's house and I'm cleansing something out, I would make sure I'd have some sort of cedar on me, because I feel like cedar does it the best. Cedar is on the list for a medium method. And then next up is black salt. I feel like black salt is a medium method as well. You could bring that with you. Instead of using white salt, place the black salt in the corners of the room, or in bowls, or in vases like that. Let it collect that negative energy, make a circle around your home, put it in areas where you feel like the energy is off more often than not, because something's going on in that area. Place it there. Make sure you keep up on cleansing things so that doesn't accumulate. Black salt, depending on how it's made, can be not as good. It can be literally just as poor as using the white salt method. I feel like your black salt should be kicked up a notch, like a whole lot of notches. So whatever you're putting in there, make sure it has properties to banish negative energy, of course, because that's the whole point in the first place. Something to protect you. And then you want to have things that can repel any sort of like hexes, curse work, and something for your mind's eye to block out any energies that are trying to attack you mentally. You want to keep all those senses protected, and at the same time you want to expel anything that's trying to get to you and protect your area. I sell some in my shop that has all those properties in it to protect you and your overall being, protect your psyche, protect your home, and expel hexes and sort of mild curse work at the same time. Hexes, mild curse work. I think hexes are typically just, mild curses, but that's my opinion. Of course, to get rid of any sort of spirits that are trying to come at you, any sort of spirits, ghosts, whatever you want to call them. You can call them ghosts if you want. That's because to me they're the same. It's a roaming spirit that's trying to latch itself onto you so it can feel some sort of existence again. Next up, for a medium method, I'm going to say hot foot powder. A lot of us tend to use it on the living, which it works fantastically on the living. Depending on your situation, you're gonna have to gauge what you need to do with your hot foot powder, and if you might have to do some more intense spell work and physical actions to follow your spell work. If you pair it up right, you should get the results you want. So hot foot powder is also good to repel spirits. You can make a spiritual barrier with hot foot powder if you put it around your home. It's the same thing as black salt. Put it around your home, especially before your doorways, underneath window seals, those sorts of things, because those are giant gateways. Literally looking into my phone right now is typically a giant gateway. Looking into your TV is a giant gateway. A mirror can be one too, a window, sliding door, front door, anything that had any sort of access to it once upon a time where you can kind of like go through it or see something into it is a gateway. It might not have been the best explanation ever, but hopefully you get the gist of what I'm saying from that. Next up is eggshells. It is a very powerful method. It stems from hoodoo. Other cultures use it as well. I'm not gonna go into extensive information about where it's based from. It's almost 4, I'm still drinking coffee. I need to eat. And I want a michelada. I really want a michelada. Eggshells. So the term of walking on eggshells is a present term for this method. You can literally lay the broken eggshells down. You can mix them with other things like sulfur and camphor and some other herbs and stuff to help repel negative energies and spirits and entities and all that jazz. You lay that down in an area where you want someone to feel uncomfortable, but it also has a spiritual protection, banishing properties to it. So like I said, with the black salt and the hot foot powder, you can place them in the areas of which you do not want things to enter your home, and that'll help keep them out, make that circle around your home. It's the same sort of uses for all these sorts of powders and stuff, so just keep that in mind. Some of them are stronger than others. I would say that's a strong protection method. Next up is brick dust, which I would say is a pretty strong method. You can literally bless the bricks in the walls of your home that it's made out of. If you got a brick house, honey, you're golden. You have like one of the most protected houses, unless certain incidences were negative happened in your home, like maybe some people died in there, the family before you died in the home, something really bad happened in there. Typically, bricks are good at protecting the home, the outskirt of your home. You can bring them inside your home to protect that one area, and that's a really strong method. You can write sigils on the bricks as well, which will also help enhance the energy of it. But if it's happened inside the brick walls, the energy is trapped there. There's nowhere for it to go. Have some sort of gateway to let that energy flow out, or create some sort of sigil magic to help guide the spirit out of there, or perform a ritual inside your home to push that energy out, which I'm going to get into later on of how to do that. Next up, strong protection method is crab shells. I typically do not like using animals in my craft, but I would hope that you wouldn't just go pluck a live crab and rip its shell off and crush it up. That's not what you're supposed to do. If it's already dead and you found it on the beach and you want to repurpose the vessel of which its soul resided in, be my guest. I'm not going to stop you. That is the most ethical, humane way to do it. So if you want to make crab powder, crab shell, dust or whatever, then that's the way you should do it. Spiritual tie, because the animal has already passed on into that realm, and that animal will help protect your home in that sense. It's like a direct link from the last vessel that it was in. And it's something that I would replace, of course, along with the other methods, because over time it's going to get blown around and it's going to get mixed up in the dirt, and you want to keep your layer of protection strong. This is something you can feel out, or you can just literally mark it, hey, I'm going to replace it this day, because, you know, sometimes we forget because we're so bogged down by the material world that we let our defenses down in the spiritual realm. I'm guilty of not being able to keep up with certain things. I mean, there's a lot of things that I would like to do to balance myself between the material and spiritual realm, or else I tend to feel out of line. Crab shells is a really good way to protect and push out negative energy. So, strong method. Next up, lemons and limes are very good absorbers. So if you want to get like a bundle of lemons and limes and put them on like some sort of tray, or just have one in every room that you feel that has negative energy building up, then place one in there on a tray or in a bowl or something. Typically when they dry up naturally, they are just supposed to harden up and dry up. That's how it's supposed to go. That's how you dehydrate your fruits, your citrus fruits, and you know, it's supposed to just dry up and you can use it for whatever you're going to use it for after that. But if there's negative, stagnant energy in there that is toxic for you, it will age the fruit or whatever you put in that room faster. It'll create mold, and like black mold, white mold, whatever sort of mold, and cakes itself on the citrus fruit. That means you're dealing with something that's in the spiritual plane. Your food shouldn't rot like that. This was actually portrayed in an Ed and Lorraine movie. Someone took the fruit out of the fridge and it was already rotted, and it shouldn't have been rotted. That means that negative energy was out of control. Whatever was in their home was basically running rampant and possessing everything. That's when your cleansing methods need to be taken to an extreme, because since they've already gotten that far and they consumed most of the energy in that household, a longer process to get that energy out of your home. You're gonna have to constantly keep pushing it out. A lot of the time what you see in movies is not how it goes. You need constant keeping up on pushing the energy out. It's something that's hard to do when it's been taken to an extreme, because you let it go for so long. So typically if you have someone who can help you do it, since your energy is probably getting chipped away little by little and you're feeling really low at this point because you're getting like drained dry. Just imagine like a Dementor from Harry Potter just sucking the life out of you basically. So it can live, it can like feel, you know, human things, and just grow bigger and bigger basically at that point. I mean, you can't see it, but it's something that you can like feel your energy just getting drained from you. Imagine that basically. It's not exactly how it's going to look, but it feels pretty damn similar to how that looks in Harry Potter. But if you're too spent to perform these things, then call somebody who's already an expert in dispelling these energies from your home. They might have to come back a few times, but eventually they can clear it out, hopefully, or they might need to gather some more energy to push out the one, depending on how strong it is. Don't let it go that long. A strong method is camphor. Camphor is something that I would typically mix with bay leaves and frankincense. Is an old way to cleanse out an area, land, rooms, objects, and something that I would use personally in a ritual for negative energies that have been accumulated over time, and you need something strong to get it out of there. That's something I would burn during the ritual. It's supposed to protect and dispel the energy. So it's something I would burn if I'm trying to reverse some sort of curse magic or remove a curse as well. It's supposed to be extremely cleansing and extremely assertive in that sense. I would burn that during the ritual. You can burn that in bay leaves and in the frankincense just as a regular cleansing method. I would say like once a month. You're not up the game for once a month, and try once every 3 months. It's a really strong method. It's not something you need to do every single day, unless you just really love the smell of it. Sure, why not? That's like if you haven't been Palo Santoing your objects or saging your objects or whatever, and you know you've let it go for a long time. And I would just set some of that up in every room and just let it burn. It'll help cleanse everything out, and then you can go and do other stuff. So as far as a ritual goes, I would suggest that you guys, if you're beaten down and you're the kind of person who typically can't keep up good energy in a ritual after your spiritual attack has been happening for so long, I would suggest having people help you, because their energy is going to be flowing and vibrating at a higher rate than yours, since you've waited too long to perform this sort of magic. I would get the black salt. I would go in an area that feels safe for you. You guys need to get your energy filled up. And if there's certain sigils that you'd like to use that you use normally in a practice that would help protect you, or any sort of protection jewelry, wear it. If you have protection charms or amulets, wear them. More the merrier, because you need to quiet down your mind state of operating out of fear to a positive approach of, this is gonna work, after this they're gone, they're history, they're never coming back. You don't need them feeding off you any more than what they have. You have all your things that protect you and dispel that negative energy on your being, or anything that you would like to have during that ritual. I would then go place your protection powders, preferably stronger methods, in every room. Place your lemon or lime in the room on top of your salt, or I would place it on top of black salt and then place it in the room. You can use garlic as well. It's supposed to be a strong dispeller of negative energies. That's up to you. Or you can mix it with the garlic skin and do it that way. Burning your mixed incense of the camphor, bay leaves, frankincense. You need to tell this spirit that it's not welcome here. You need to leave. You need to move on. If it's that negative, you need to say, get the hell out of my home, you're not wanted here. Do this with the windows and doors open if you'd like. And after you're done pushing this energy out, I would go into every room, because you want to have your energy field built up. You're gonna go into every room and tell the spirit to leave. Push this energy out of every single room, and then make your way downstairs to the front door. Open that door, push the energy out. Put a layer of protection powder right there, and then close everything up. And if you've made amulets and stuff prior to this, then I would hang all those up above your doorway, especially right after you're done performing that ritual. And then you're gonna close out of it, and then get rid of any energy that you felt like you've accumulated that's negative in any way, and ground that out. Release it. And of course, for these rituals, you can call forth any sort of guides or deities that you work with. Know that it might feel like a touchy subject to call forth another deity, and an entity is causing you trouble, so you already feel like your gateway is open to be attacked. But if you feel like that, then don't. We don't need you to lower your energy field that much more, because that's why they're not leaving in the first place, is because they're operating off of you. You need to get your energy field and your shit together, basically, and tell them to get the hell out of your home, that they're not welcome there. Like, what the fuck are you doing here? I'm the one who pays the bills here. You don't even exist anymore. I mean, you do, just not in this plane. You need to move on and let yourself be recycled. Typically, they linger so long is because some of them are afraid to move on, because they don't think there's anything left for them, which, you know, that's a plausible fear, you know? But either way, they're disrupting their own energy and their own possible reincarnation the longer they wait. So with that said, you can perform that ritual. You can use blood in that ritual. You can use blood for the sigils. You don't need a lot of it. You can literally mix your blood with some other like dragon's blood ink, or any sort of ink that you've made. Put your own blood into it and create the sigils. This is your way of showing your own dominance in the area. It's just literally like imagining an animal spraying something. They're like, this is mine. Basically, that's what you're doing. Just, I guess, less grotesque. But yeah, You can mix your blood in there or some saliva. I prefer blood because I feel like that's as most powerful as you're gonna get. And it's less disrespectful. If I was gonna spit on something, it would be for some sort of hex or curse word, because I'm literally, you know, trying to degrade the person that I'm performing that magic on. The spirit's just unwanted. And I want to make it clear that I've asserted my dominance in what I own and where I am, and that this area is mine and I need to leave. So whatever you sort of talismans or whatever you made, you put sigils in them, or of any sort, you put them on there with some sort of mixture of blood and ink that it will assert your dominance in that area. I would suggest performing a ritual like that. If the energy is that negative and that powerful, that's what I would do. But typically, for spirits who aren't as disruptive, you can tell them that, you know, hey, there's nothing here for you. What is it gonna take to help you move on? And you can sit there and literally just have a chat with the spirit and just feel its energy. If it's a spirit who doesn't want to leave, you can do things to appease the spirit. Like if the spirit wants to have a certain plant, or they really like your cat, then tell them you can come visit the cat whenever you want. The cat will be here. Just please don't disrupt my area anymore. You can literally live in peace with spirits if you're okay with having them around and it doesn't freak you out. Because some spirits are just like that. They just have these attachments of where they don't want to move on, because wherever they're going, they think they might not have what they had anymore, which is understandable. And you can work with them and live with them in peace if you want to. Of course, that's different sorts of spirits, different sorts of energies you're dealing with there. Before I ramble on anymore, I hope this video was, you know, useful for you in any sort of way, if you guys didn't already know the knowledge that I've tried to push out. And until next time, I will see all you lovely little brujitas later.